impulse, pulls off the upset. That flash ultimate just ended the game against TSM.
Longest game this split, and they have done it. Team Liquid.
It's going to be Gravity taking down Coast.
Teammate are going to end the week 2-0, putting them back into that gigantic tie for 5th place.
This is a week where we're going to see a lot of movement in the middle of the standings.
I think we're more at the better end of the middle of the pack. I think we play well against all the other teams that are in there.
지금 중위권과 탑3 팀의 차이가 생각보다 그렇게 크진 않아서 이변이 많이 발생할 것 같아요.
With only 3 weeks left in the split, this is the time to make a push for the playoffs.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Week 7 of the North American League Championship Series. There's a lot of energy in the building today. The fans are pumped up and ready for some action. CLG getting a little love in the line outside as people file in. And, of course, Dignitas, they'll be playing in our first game of the day, and they're looking to defend their spot against Team Coast, who we see doing a little prep and backstage, picking up their gear. Kiwi Kid maybe colluding a little bit, who knows? Of course. Well, hello, everyone. I'm James Dash Patterson. It's great to have you with us for another full day of matches. And sharing their insights with us on the analyst desk, we've got Joshua Jat Leesman, Aiden Zyrene Moon, and David Freak Turley, Earl of Puns.
It's true. We got a bunch of experts here, and I got to rep my hometown of puns for you guys.
Changing your tone this week, I see.
Yep.
Yeah. I like it.
Yep. I was going to be sharp.
Jat's on the desk now, so he can't call you out.
Such a wonderful group of experts.
Oh, yeah. Everyone's so smart here today.
Well, at the end of the split is quickly approaching, and a couple teams continue to tinker with their rosters in an effort to move up the standings, not least of which is Winter Fox, which announced Imagine is benched, with Alltech moving to support, and the team's coach, Paragon, is going to be taking over at AD Carry. A lot of moves there.
Yeah, so Paragon, just to specify, he is a former professional AD carry from Korea. He played in multiple seasons for the team Incredible Miracle and then Incredible Miracle 2. Problem is, those were never successful teams. He hasn't made it to playoffs, I think, ever, as far as I can tell from his history. So while he is a pretty good player, I don't know what Winter Fox are expecting to get out of this.
Yeah, I wonder, especially what Alltech is hoping to get out of this.
Yeah.
It said in the announcement that he requested to play support, which seems strange because he's been such a great performer as AD carry.
Yeah.
And historically, while AD carry to support moves can work, they almost never work in the short term. Maybe it's a long-term move, but with this team already being close to that relegation zone, it's a really risky move to make this late in the season.
Yeah, also playing the support role. You have to have the communication with your team when you're going to ward, when you're going to go in. And he's the only person on the team who doesn't speak Korean.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting mountain to climb there. And also, given the fact that they had stated they were a summer split team, it feels like a bit of a knee-jerk reaction to being close to that relegation slot.
Well, the thing is, to be a summer split team, you have to be in the summer split, which is the most important thing they're trying to do here.
So let's just start a winning challenger. Come on.
Right. Yeah, they could be a Summer Split Challenger team.
Great.
Exactly. All right, well, there you have it. Team Liquid made a move of their own, and they're once again starting Piglet as their AD carry.
And the reason behind that is because Keith cannot dedicate all of his time to a scrim schedule that Liquid wants to keep because he's still in high school. So they've actually been scrimming with Piglet this entire time, more so than not. And also Piglet, his mentality has improved. He's a positive force on the team from what we've been hearing. And they're taking the instant communication that Keith brought and going back to Piglet saying that his communication has improved and that he's going to bring just his raw skill back, and he's no longer farming like side camps, side waves. So they're kind of grooming him to the role that he was meant to fill.
Well, it's interesting seeing that they're trying to groom Piglet in because, from what I understand, Keith will be graduating high school in the summer. So, he could play with him full-time in the summer split. If they're playing for Worlds, they're saying, we think growing Piglet now and getting him to, the communicative, proper team player status is more likely than playing with Keith full-time in June and growing him to the level 80 carry they want.
Yeah, it's all about that skill ceiling for them.
Sure. We'll see if it gets there.
Definitely better matchups for him this weekend, so hopefully he will be able to perform. Now, finally, this week becomes do or die for Coast to try and avoid being locked into auto-relegation, and it starts with our first game against Dignitas, the team that is immediately above them in the standings.
Yeah, and Dignitas did announce they have a coach that they were able to hire and have join the team. They did say they were very picky with their coach choice as well, but they found one with a lot of experience, Rico. He formerly was on Fnatic, and I got a chance to talk with Kiwi Kid before the games today. He says He's actually been in some calls with them already, and he's very impressed with his game knowledge. The thing that surprised me the most is he actually speaks a little bit of Korean, which
Really?
blew my mind. He said it's messy, but he knows a little bit, so he's going to be working on that as well. It could be a good long-term acquisition for Team Dignitas.
Wow. Yeah, I definitely don't expect short-term results. I talked to Rico, and he said, yeah, he landed yesterday.
Yeah.
So, we'll play, but I guess they got 2 weeks after this one.
He's got the pedigree. We'll see how that plays out. We are going to pull up the standings to see how the teams are arranged. And if the split were to end right now, this is how the league would shake out, not factoring in tiebreakers, of course. In first place is Team Solo Mid. Then just 1 game back are Cloud9 and CLG, with Team Liquid holding 4th. Sharing 5th place are Gravity, Teammate, and Impulse. And then rounding out the standings, it's Winter Fox in 8th, followed by Team Dignitas in 9th, and Coast in last. Now, every game becomes critical as teams look to change their fortunes. So starting with our first match today, we've got Team Dignitas versus Coast. After that, Gravity will face off against CLG, and the new Winter Fox lineup will get their first test when they take on TSM. Not going to be easy. And we want to get your thoughts on how the rest of the split will play out. We're asking the Twitterverse which NA LCS team is poised to make a late split surge and why. Send your thoughts to us at LOL Esports, and we'll highlight a few later in the broadcast. And then earlier in the week, we unveiled the details around the upcoming mid-season invitational. The event will take place in Tallahassee, Florida, starting on May 7th, and will feature 6 teams from around the world, from Europe, Korea, China, Taiwan, North America, as well as the winner of the International Wildcard Invitational. Be sure to check back on lolesports.com later this month for ticket information. That's going to be an exciting tournament. Very excited to see finally how the teams are going to stack up internationally following IEM Katowice. Now, one of the biggest offseason changes to League of Legends was Baron, and while the buff has changed, the teams all agree it can be the key to winning games.
Baron?
Yeah, you can try it. Baron.
If they base, we can do it. We can get Baron and then push top.
Baron buff's just a way to end the game. It sounds kind of weird, but it gives you an opening to take down the inhibitor, and once you get inhibitors, that's how you break open the game.
So Baron buff gives you a faster recall, it gives you a bit more AP and AD, and it also makes the minions way stronger. So I think Baron buff is the greatest.
The best part about Baron buff is the sieging potential you get from it, especially when you have a comp that can split push, so you can push every single lane and you'll buff every single minion.
So when you get Baron buff, it buffs your cannon minion and lets have really long range.
When Baron buffs up his range and you give him magic immunity, you just have to sit back and watch him do his work.
Against turtle comps like Xerath and stuff, it's really hard to siege when they can just one-shot the wave. But with Baron buff, Xerath can't touch the wave at all.
I think that is kind of underappreciated about Baron buff is the improved recall. It allows you to group 5-man somewhere and do something and then back really quickly, and it gives you a mini home guard so you can get out of base really fast.
If you get Baron buff, it's way easier to siege because the super minions are super strong, but on the other hand, you don't want to start Baron where they can steal it, because if they can steal it, they might turn the game around.
I got it!
That was absolutely huge.
So it's definitely really important that you never start it unless you ace them, or you for sure have cleared all the Baron pit vision. It's a really mind game when it comes to Baron calls.
Well, I think any strat with Baron's pretty good because it just makes you so powerful, and he's really the only reliable way to get through tier 2 turrets. And then generally when you get a Baron, you'll just win the game, because not only will you get the Baron and the Baron buff, you'll get all the gold from all the turrets you're killing, and you'll have these massive gold swings over the other team.
He's trying to Meteos! Call him Shieldios!
Yeah, one of my favorite things about the Baron buff that wasn't necessarily mentioned in that video was how this season it's more of a fight instigator, because the teams will be taking your turrets and it's not giving regen, so you want to actually get the Baron buff off your opponents as quickly as possible.
And I really like how teams use it as well. And we heard one of them mention actually about how you want to have a good split pusher, but the fact that you buff up minions, minions are fairly easy to clear with a team of 5, but if you're 1v1 Maokai versus Aurelia, you're not really going to fight through the minion wave very fast, and you actually get more out of doing a 1-3-1 and then not getting collapsed on.
All right, well, Dignitas as an organization has had a long history with Baron. We'll see if that Baron buff comes into play today in our first game of the match, and we're going to send it over to the guys on the caster desk to get that